I'm recording this for our benefits. So you can review stuff
Yeah.
like that. Okay, great question. So there's did you teach yourself drums, or did you go through drum lessons to kind of get started, or how did you?
I started in middle school doing like band class, and then in college I did lessons.
Okay, okay. So this same analogy, like you had to start with quarter notes and then eighths and then triplets, ta 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 ta. You had to kind of learn the rudiments of drums, right? How to hold the sticks and all that stuff, as if I know what they are. But just like in anything, and skill comes after practice. That's how you develop skills, through practice. So naturally, what you're going to run into as you start dialing more and booking more appointments, you're going to start fine tuning, and that's really what happens through repetition. Now, the coaching part, stuff that we do, the coaching part on the skill development, really comes down to learning how to deal with the objection handling, right? So you can't make someone pick up the phone. So, getting 18 contacts out of 59 dials, that's rocking, dude. I mean, you know, but it's one of those things where, like, if it took you 120 dials to make 18 contacts to book 6 appointments, it's like, all right, okay, so it took that many. But, you know, I'm a numbers guy, so it's always good to track numbers because the numbers tell you something. Um, the contact ratio, sometimes that tells us, like, 18 out of 59, that tells us, maybe you're not dialing at the right times of the day versus maybe you are. And it sounds like you are. Like what time of the day were you dialing these people?
8:30 to 11:30.
Okay. That's perfect. It's funny how early morning, especially seniors, are sharper. When they start getting into the evening and late afternoon, evening, they're not as sharp. But now I'm a big fan of dialing all through the day. But sometimes when someone has terrible contact numbers and I ask them that question, they say, "Well, I'd start dialing at 8 p.m." And it's like, oh, dude. And they only dialed for an hour. It's these kind of things tell me something. This tells me a lot about, you're probably very focused and just slamming the phone for that period of time. And so I'm fired up. That keep rocking it, man. Keep rocking it. Booking 1 out of 3 basically that's really good.
Okay.
For these old leads, new leads, what type of leads?
They were ethos.
Ethos. Oh, awesome. So we've been getting really good results with ethos. Um, Probably the biggest thing. Okay, so let me ask you a question. The appointments that you booked, how do you characterize those conversations versus the ones you did not? What seemed
They
better about those?
so they absolutely remembered filling out the application.
Yep.
They acknowledged that. And it was very easy to talk them through the qualification questions and such because they had already gone through it before. They just didn't
Yeah.
finish it. So they were very receptive to my questions
Yeah.
versus the
Yep.
ones that were like, yeah, I'm not interested. I know I filled it out, but I'm not interested right now. My mindset hasn't changed from now then. So
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the ones. So here's the kind of the mentality, right? There are people that will want to buy no matter how good you are or how bad you are.
mm,
You get in touch with them, they're going to buy from you just because they need it. They really, it's almost like not much you do to, other than being a nice person or whatever. Then there are a percentage of those people that no matter how good you are, no matter what you say, even if you have 20 years experience, they're not buying, right? They're not
mm,
buying. And those are ones we don't want to sell anyway, right? Because if you were so good to convince them to buy, they're going to just cancel their policy later, and then you get a chargeback, and we don't like chargebacks. We're
yeah.
right. We want to talk to legitimate people that have a need. So I'm not hung up on the people that are hard. I'm just looking for the easy ones. So a third of them you found were easy because they were just they were already looking for whatever reason they got out of the cart. They just wanted to, but they're still really looking to take care of it. The middle ones, so of the third, the 2/3 that you didn't book, maybe there's a third, half of those maybe could have been, maybe not, right? So that's kind of what we're talking about. So I don't want you to think we're talking about you know, um, uh, all 2/3. The other 12, it's just some of those 12, and maybe not none of them, right? So when they start going down the road of, well, I'm not interested, it's really the objection is I'm not interested. It's or I'm not no longer looking, or I'm blah blah blah, or I took care of it. This is kind of the category of objections, no matter what kind of lead that you run into. And so I always kind of lead with this. It's like, um, well, I'm curious, why did you want to even go online to look for insurance anyway? So you always want to lead with a question, because questions put you in control. Now, they may just hang up. Like, I'm sure people are just, now I'm not interested, click. And it's like, okay, cool. At least you found out that there were the other half of those. So the next one, maybe you could have turned around, maybe not. But I always like, how could I get better? So maybe I could have asked a better question. So it's like, well, I'm just kind of curious, what caused you to want to get online and look for insurance? Is there someone that you wanted to take care of? And you know what, dude, you don't buy insurance for people you hate, right? You you want to take care of people you love and care about. And so I always try to get to the heart of the matter. It's like someone buys insurance because they love someone, right? I call insurance a love product. And so when they kind of give me that, well, I'm just not interested anymore, or whatever, however they say it, that indicates they don't, want to revisit it. I always take them back to, well, yeah, I'm just curious. People get online for a lot of things. What motivated you to want to even start the process with Ethos? Is there someone that you really love and care about that you wanted to, you know, not burden with your funeral expenses? And then you just shut up. Now that's sort of the go no go decision. It's the fork in the road. If they hang up on you, good, because I wanted them to do something, either hang up on me and leave the process because I don't want to waste any more time, or they go down the road. And if they go down the road, it's like, well, it's like, yeah, I was thinking about my daughter and something happened to me. It's like, oh, okay. Well, tell me about your daughter. Is she your only child, or you have other kids? Well, she's the oldest and most responsible. Typically, you kind of get into that conversation. Oh, okay, so she's going to be the one to take care of all your situation when you die. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, now, does she live in the same town as you? Do you have grandkids with her? So what I'm trying to do is try to like make her almost in their heart materialize for them. They're thinking about who they love. They're not thinking about buying life insurance. So instead of thinking about the transaction, they're thinking about the result of the transaction, which is taking care of whom they love. And so the more I can flesh that person out, it's kind of like Star Trek transporter. They're materializing in front of them. All of a sudden, boom, they're there in their mind and their heart. So once I find out more about them, then here's the first closing question. And the first closing question is, wow, so, correct me if I'm wrong. What you're telling me is that when you die, you want to make sure Martha, your daughter, doesn't have a financial burden for having to come up with the money to pay for your funeral and all the expenses related to, taking care of all your stuff. Is that correct? Yeah, that's it. Okay, and that's when you've created an A lead. When you've created a real lead of identifying someone who cares about that person. Okay, so once you get there, then that's like permission to get started. In your mind, it's like, okay, well, here's what's going to happen next. I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to find a program that you can afford that will take care of Martha. So I'm saying Martha, 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 right? I'm using her name all the time because I want to focus on taking care of her, right? So That's your hook, right? That's the emotional hook. And so when you say their name, and there's, dude, there's something when you say your kid's name, like anyone says my kid's name with affection or, care. It's like, I like that person. I like that person because that person's talking about my kid in a kind way, right? So that's the way I kind of think about, if I can get them to that emotional feeling, then I've got somewhere to go. And then I just proceed with, okay, I'm going to ask you some questions, and boom, I start with the process. Um, that's all I'm trying to do with that. Half of the other ones is move them towards talking about who they love. If they don't want to go there, it's like, well, I'm just, it's so expensive. I just, oh, okay. So they use the expense thing. Yeah, this is expensive. I can't afford it. Oh, I'm curious. Can I ask you a question? I do that just to ask permission, right? To keep the conversation going. That's kind of the first question is, can I ask you a question? If they say,
Hmm.
well, yeah, sure. Well, I'm curious about something. How did you know that you couldn't afford it? Did someone already give you some outrageous quote that you couldn't afford? And they'll say, yeah, I talked to an agent and blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, I figured. We have 55 different companies we can find out, we can draw from to help you. This is only going to take about 15, 20 minutes. And if I could find something that you can afford, you know, um, maybe I can help you out. But let me ask you a basic question. When you went online to look, or when you talk to an agent, about this kind of coverage, who were you thinking about? Who was the loved one that you were trying to take care of? Right. So again, I'm taking them from the transaction to who do they love and who they care about, and then I move forward there, and then we try to find something they can afford. Um, Usually, when it comes to affordability, uh, to help me understand their affordability, I'll ask them, and this is a key question. I'll ask them, so were you thinking about a full blown funeral, or are you looking for a less expensive cremation? Are you cool with the cremation thing, or were you looking for the full blown casket deal? And then that tells me, number one, if cremation's off the table. Like, oh, I don't want a cremation. I don't. I just people don't want to do it. It's like, okay, well, that gets me a little bit into the more understanding what they can afford. They say cremation, then I can show them cheaper options. So that's another, I call it a closing question because it then clarifies more of what they're looking for, right? So I get their heart, their emotion, and then, what kind of funeral are you looking for? Cremation or full blown funeral, right? So those are key questions to help move you down the road with them because it indicates, that they're thinking about what they want, right? Not thinking about it's too expensive, not thinking about I don't know if I really want to do this, right? So so that kind of gives you a little bit more direction on where to go with them. Now, legitimately, people may not have time to deal with it. They've got other things going on. And so I always leave it open. It's like, okay, yeah, I know it's busy and stuff like that, especially the holiday excuse. You're going to get the holiday excuse. It's like, yeah, I know the holiday's busy and stuff, but wouldn't it be cool? And I only use this for Christmas, right? Wouldn't it be cool if you gave your family the gift of a life insurance policy on yourself? This is only going to take 15, 20 minutes to decide what you want. I'm going to show you some affordable options and then another half hour to fill out the application. Boom, you're done. We get issued, and it's the best gift you can give them for Christmas. So I'll throw that out there. And they say, I'm just too busy, blah blah blah. Okay, cool. Why don't I give you a call back? Um, so after Christmas, before New Year's, you think you got some dead time that we can get together again and chat? And then I will try to get them into that dead week. So if I get into that dead week between Christmas and New Year's, man, I'm golden. Because there's, a lot of people take time off or they got, you know, their company shuts down anyway. It's just very laid back period of time. And, sometimes they'll be very open for me to call them back. So I'm going to stack up a bunch of callbacks during that period of time. Um, So that's probably the other excuse is the time thing. We covered the affordability, not interested, went down that road. So those are honestly, dude, the excuses are very, you're going to run into the same ones all the time. Did you get any other ones that are kind of outside of those?
So one person said that he is getting a new job, and the new job already is going to supply him with a life insurance policy.
Okay, I love this one. I love this one. I go, so I'm curious, what are you in between jobs or kind of what's your situation? And a lot of times they'll say, well, yeah, I lost my job and then I found this one, or I just went from one to this one. It was starting a new job. It's like, okay, well, cool. Have you ever been laid off before? Um, yeah, I've been laid off before. Yeah, it's not too good, is it? No. And when you get let off, you no longer have those benefits, right? Your insurance benefits. It's like, yeah, right. Well, this is probably a young guy. How old was he?
He was 43.
Oh, 43. Okay, he wasn't so young. It's like, yeah, absolutely, Joe. You should take your life insurance benefits from work. Is it like what, 3 years of your income or something like that for your family? Yeah, something like that. Okay. Well, most people in your situation, they like to have an independent life insurance program that's in place whether they're working or not. So they're not dependent on the job to give them that benefit. Now, it's great to have the benefit if you're going to get it for really cheap, but we find that most of our clients that we talk to, they like to also have an independent program because the scenario that we run into may not happen to you, and I hope it doesn't. But like if you get cancer or some serious illness that you're no longer able to work, then you'll lose those benefits from the job and you're too sick to qualify for a normal life insurance program. And it's typically what will happen that doesn't put you in and your family in any kind of position. Now, are you wanting life insurance for your family? So this is where we go back to the who do I love, right? So you're looking for life insurance for your family. Yeah, I am. Oh, okay, so you got a spouse and children and stuff. Absolutely. Okay. Well, like I said, most people like to have a independent program, so they're not always dependent upon the work benefits. Does that make sense? Okay. What is he going to say? No, it doesn't make sense, right? Now, this is where you're hoping they come up with all the crazy excuses. Well, I don't know if I can afford anything outside. I like having these benefits, whatever. It's like that's why I tell them most of our clients also have life insurance at work, but they also like to have an independent program of insurance. So this is where I try to frame the argument that most of our clients, they're doing what you're doing, but they're also doing this, right? It's like most everyone. So I try to put him in the bucket of, well, everyone's doing it. Maybe he should, right? Do you see how I'm kind of framing the argument that, most of our clients also have work insurance because it's cheap, but they also supplement it with an independent program, so that they're not relying on benefits at work. Situation typically is you get so sick, you can't work, you get laid off, you lose your job, whatever, and then you're too sick to qualify for regular insurance. Does that make sense? Again, you're closing it with a question, and they say, well, yeah, that makes sense. Now you're starting to walk down the road. It's like, look, it's only going to take about 15, 20 minutes to figure something out for you that's affordable. Let's spend some time. If it works, great. If it doesn't, great. And then, you know, and that's where you can take the work insurance excuse. And that's something that we've done for years, right? We get that work insurance thing, But again, if you can get back to who they're trying to take care of and start walking down that road, then you're right there. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Anything else?
This one person said, I already got a policy written on somebody else.
Okay. Do they mean with someone else or they have a policy written on someone else?
On somebody else.
Hmm. Okay. So, okay, if I ever got that one, I would just, now I'm asking questions to totally clarify so I can understand, right? It's under the category of seek to understand, right? Seek to understand. It's like, huh, that's interesting. So can I ask you a clarifying question? Sure. You weren't looking for insurance on your life. In other words, when you die, the insurance company is going to pay out the benefit to the person you love and care about. So you're telling me that's not what you were looking for? Because most people, so this is where I go into this is a canned response. When most people fill this form out, when most people go online on Ethos, they're worried about their family having to come up with the money to pay for their funeral and final expenses or keep the house going or whatever, their income. Now, is that what you were looking for? Or are you looking for something completely different? Okay. Again, you're in control when you're asking a question, and then you do the either or. It's like either this or this. They pick one. It's like, no, I was really actually looking to get someone else covered. Oh, okay. Right. I mean, that's what he could say. It's like, so I got them covered with blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, okay. So you're the beneficiary on that policy. It's like, yeah. Okay, cool. And maybe it's on a son or daughter or spouse or that's some significant other that they have insurable interest on. If that's the case, I go, well, let me ask you a basic question, Joe. When you die, who's going to have to take care of your situation, your final expense situation? Right. And that's where, I clarify what they're looking for. And then I go back to, well, what happens when you die? Right. So does that make sense?
Yep. I've never, even in my previous IMO, I've never heard that before. So like I
It's
did
crazy, huh?
not know how to tackle that.
That's why I never say I've heard it all because I haven't heard it all. Cool. Are those any other ones that you can think of?
Goodness. Uh, let's see, you already tackled. I've just been hung up on, and that's common.
Yeah.
There was one person that was like, okay, so when I called him, he said, oh yeah, I would definitely want to get that taken care of. And then when I tried to schedule an appointment for like today, he was like, oh, actually, I have a birthday party. Can we do Monday morning? I was like,
Yeah. You
huh?
know what, dude? I would book it. I would book it. I would say, yeah, Monday morning, what time? You
Yeah.
know, um, well, I mean, if it's open for your calendar, then, you know, and then what I would say, this is what, Saturday? Or when were you dialing yesterday?
This was this morning.
This morning. Oh, it's Saturday. Oh, I would definitely book it for Monday morning.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we love to do it as soon as possible. But when they kind of have that definite, you know, well, I got a birthday party, I got a lot going on today. Can you do Monday? So they're actually booking the appointment with you. And so here's how I would really tie it down. I would go, absolutely. What's a good time for you? 7 o'clock. Okay, whatever. Okay. I think I can work that in. Um, when I call you now you're doing telesales or in home?
Telesales.
I'll say, okay. So when I call you, you're definitely going to be there. I just tie it down. It's like, yeah, yeah, I should be. They say I should be home. It's like, okay, so you have other things going on that afternoon or whatever that at that time. Yeah, I'm going to be coming back I have this thing, but I should be home, by 5 p.m. Okay. I tell you what, why don't we do this? Why don't we book it for like 6? Are you definitely be home by 6? Yeah, I'll be home by 6. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm going to call you from this phone number. So if you could maybe lock this number in your phone, just put my name down. Alex, you know, insurance guy. Yeah, make it easy. Alex, the insurance guy. Then you know it's me calling at 6 p.m. You know, uh, is that cool? Okay, good. So I'll also text you like maybe that morning to let you know I'll be calling at 6. Just just to make sure that as a reminder. But here's what I would do. I double book, baby. Like I say, I book it for 6 p.m. I'm booking another appointment in that slot. So when, sometimes I really don't go for like exactly, it's like, why don't we move it to, I'll call you between 6 and 7 p.m. Is that cool? Just you're going to be home between 6 and 7. I'll give you a call. So I try to give like a range, right? Is that cool? And they go, yeah. And then what I do for the second appointment, I'll double book it. I'll book another appointment. If another person tells me Monday, then I'll book it for that same time. Because I want to be just sitting there doing nothing if that dude doesn't show up, right? Because on telesales, the no-show rate is like 50%. So, I just try to hedge my bet, and I don't have any hesitation in double booking, right? Especially when I give like an hour window, then I'll definitely book 2 appointments for sure. So that gives me flexibility.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I'll do the reminder.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one more very interesting one.
Yeah.
So this one guy was like, I don't want to confirm that information over the phone. So I was going through the Ethos script. I was like, hey, I have this information for you. He was like, I don't want to confirm or give any info over the phone. I didn't know how to tackle that.
It's interesting. Yeah, that one, where does he live?
He was in Catonsville.
Is that far from you?
No, it's
Oh,
like 10 minutes from me.
oh, dude. Oh, that just opens the door. It's like
Oh, God.
for the in-home appointment, I'd book it, dude. I would just say, okay, so when are you going to be home? Are you going to be home later on today or tomorrow? Like, I don't care. I'll run an appointment on a Sunday. And then I just book it like a regular face-to-face appointment and
Okay.
then meet with them, and do the in-home appointment deal. Because that's sort of your trump card, right? Because he's telling you, I'm not going to do it over the phone. It's like, okay, cool. I'm only about 10 minutes away. You're going to be around later on this afternoon, and then you have a higher percentage of closing them for
Mm,
sure. So I would definitely be open for, the I can come by approach.
okay.
Okay. Now, if he freaks out about that, then, you don't have someone who's like committed to really wanting to do this, right? It's like, well, I don't know if I want. Okay, you don't want to do it on the phone. You don't want me to meet you face to face. How do you want to get this insurance? I'm confused. Help me out here. I that's what I would tell them, right? But hey, because you talk about ethos that's online. It's like, dude, I'm 10 minutes away. Why don't we get together? 15, 20 minutes. I'll give you all the information. And then, if something looks good to you, then, maybe another 15, 20 minutes to take care of it.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, they're begging you to come over to their house.
Like, how else am I going to get the information?
I know, man. Well, can you send it in the mail? It's like, gosh, I could fill your mail full of stuff. You're getting a ton of stuff already. You want some more mail in your mailbox? I mean, I could try to fit in your mailbox if I could, but I just come over and get in and out. I'll just give you the stuff and see, how, and this is how I would talk to him. It's like I joke and I'm just like having a conversation, man, like with a
Mm,
friend. In my mind, I'm having a conversation with a friend, joking and with them, and you know, and it puts them at ease, makes me sound like a really cool guy, that, hey, it's like, hey, by the way, put the coffee on too. You got coffee? You got a coffee maker? It's sort of that mode. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of a relaxed, kind of a lighthearted type mode, and it relaxes them a lot. So, all right.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that is gold. Gold.
Well, hey, dude, you listen. You've already booked 6 appointments. So God bless you, man. That's rocking. So, our staff is ready to help you, whatever you need to get. If you got to give us a call, whatever. Okay.
Okay. Really,
All
really
right.
appreciate you, Alex.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'll send this recording back to you. You mind if I let the group hear this coaching stuff too?
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome, dude. Appreciate you, man. All right, Zayon. Keep rocking, bro.
Thank you,
Proud of you,
Alex.
man. Take care. See
You
you.
too.